All right, yo, what's up? It's tier list Tuesday, even though it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday. It might be a day late, but it's been like 2 weeks since I've made a video, and I have been kind of really addicted to Monster Hunter Wilds, so that's what the video is gonna be about, all right? And you may be thinking like, oh, it's a whatever, a tier list for a game where you're mostly just playing for fun. Like, dude, who cares? And that's where I stop you, all right? This is not a tier list for how good each weapon is. This is a tier list of how cool you are if you play these weapons. Like, all right, let's get something squared away. So S is like the coolest. If you play the S rank weapons, you're cool. D is like the lamest weapons. Yeah, that's most of the rules of what's going on. Just doing a little how cool you are for playing each weapon. To kick off this list, I'll start at the bottom. I think the least cool weapon to play in actually, I'll do like a little the coolest least cool weapon to play, I would say, is sword and shield. Now, actually, I might restart, bruh. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that out. We're gonna kick off this list for real this time. The coolest least cool weapon is heavy bowgun. Now, heavy bowgun is, I mean, a ranged weapon in a game meant to be played with melee. I'll be honest, I don't know who boots up Monster Hunter and it's like, oh boy, I can't wait to play some bowgun. I can't wait to just run around and shoot at a monster. But there is a little bit of silver lining with heavy bowgun specifically because, maybe later on in the lifespan of this game, it turns out that heavy bowgun does a ridiculous damage output and it's like the optimal like speed run farming weapon. So that's why I'm putting it at the top of D. Uh you get like a pass if you use it just cuz, it might be meta, but that's the only reason why you should be using it. You should only be using heavy bowgun if you're just picking a weapon to be good. Next on the list, I'm going to put light bowgun. For actually, you know what? No, I'm going to put bow. For the same reason, like, bro, why are you playing a ranged weapon in Monster Hunter? I just think it's so boring, man. You just like roll and then shoot. Like, you don't have to space. You don't have to. I mean, you can technically aim for weak points, but most of the time you're just shooting at a monster, and because it's targeting you, it'll face you anyway. So you're just hitting headshots. You don't have to like do anything special. At least with the guns and stuff, you do it like coatings and stuff, so you can apply statuses, whatnot. That's kind of nice, I guess. You can kind of play a supporting role, getting paras, but I mean, every weapon can do that, unless if you're running like a para greatsword, then you're weird. But yeah, I don't know, man. If you like main a ranged weapon, you're weird. Like it's okay to play any of these weapons. To be clear, like if you have it in your, maybe you have it as your like offhand weapon or your secondary weapon, right? Just if you really hate fighting against a monster, maybe like Guardian Rathalos. Guardian Rathalos is a bitch. He just sits in the air, shoots fireballs, spams fireballs, whatever. If you want to just fucking shoot that guy, be my guest. But if this is like your go-to weapon, like you boot up the game every day to play bow, like what are you doing, bro? Like that has to get boring after like 5 hunts. I've never once considered playing bow in my entire time playing it. Like I haven't played bow and I haven't even considered it. So maybe I'm wrong, but I'm willing to take that chance. I did play bow in GU, so like I know what it's about. I played all these weapons in GU a little bit. But finally, light bow gun. The last ranged weapon. Yes, I'm putting every ranged weapon in D tier. Because if this is your weapon main, you have bad taste. I'm going to tell you. It's just objectively. It's like who plays bow in like Dark Souls or Elden Ring? Like nobody in the history of all of Elden Ring actually used a bow build. Like it's a meme. Like you're doing a bow build if you're doing like a challenge run or like a funny playthrough, or if you're just relying on your whatever it's called, the summon shit. If you're just relying on the multiplayer where you summon let me solo her and then you just sit in the back and spam bow. Like bro, that's you if you're playing any like bowgun or bow and Monster Hunter. I don't know. It's just really weird. I don't respect anyone that plays these weapons. If I like queue into a, or you know, if I'm on a hunt, I send out an SOS flare and I'm joined by a bunch of bowgun players, like I don't know, man. It's just downhill from there. I know they're going to do like 10% of the monster's health. Cuz yeah, most of these bowguns like dude, I at least like tried out in like the testing range and shit, and like I think I accidentally I brought heavy bowgun into one quest. The damage output is like not that crazy, if I'm honest. Like it's not like GU broken. Where in Generations Ultimate, heavy bowgun was just absolutely ridiculous. Like you could kill the Charm Farm Brachiodos in like 45 seconds if you had a full party of heavy bowgun. Like that one makes sense. But in here, like, dude, Wilds is not that hard of a game. Like you can make any weapon work. It's whack to be choosing like the least fun weapons where you're just sitting back and shooting the monster. It's like, bro, if you want to play a shooter game, freaking play Borderlands, dude. Borderlands is so much like better. Or play Destiny or fucking Warframe. Just like any like co-op shooter that, you know, isn't a melee based game. Anyways, on to the final thing of D tier. I'm actually going to move this around because I changed my mind. Heavy bowgun is not the best D tier weapon. This one's going to piss off a lot of people because this is a very, very played weapon. Not Gunlance. I'll get to him later. Sword and Shield. Yeah, Sword and Shield is just... I'm going to be honest. I don't have any like major beef with Sword and Shield. I just don't understand why people play it. Like, it's the only weapon in the game that has shield in the title, and despite that, its shield is so ass. Like, you don't use the shield at all. Like, Lance has a broken-ass shield, Gunlance has a broken-ass shield, but then Sword and Shield has the shittiest, most useless shield. Like, bro, you can block, like, small monster attacks and shit. Like, who cares? And then, attack-wise, it's, like, half of Dual Blades. It's like, bro, why don't you play Dual Blades where you can, like, go into demon mode and, like, fucking get all the elemental damage out? But instead, no, you just want to sit back and, like, I don't know. You have the shield so you can technically get knockouts, but it's like if you want to play for knockouts, go Hammer or Hunting Horn. Like, those are two cool-ass weapons, and you're picking Sword and Shield. So many people play Sword and Shield, too. Its damage output is pretty fucking mid. It has pretty bad reach. It has, like, a couple cool attacks, but there's just so many better options. It also has so little, like, oomph to it. Like, the most oomph that you get, like, the best feeling hit that you be getting with Sword and Shield is, like, the shield bash attacks when you hit a monster on the head. Or I guess you have, like, the one thing where you, like, run up the side of its body and, like, cut it down. But even then, like, if you compare it to, like, the shit, like, Swax can do, where you fucking carve into the monster and blow it up from the inside, where you get, like, an unofficial mount attack. Like, dude, you can go for that cool shit, or you can just, I think I'll play Sword and Shield. And so many people play it. I just don't understand why. Like, if I drop an SOS flare on accident or some shit, or I'm just playing in a random lobby and someone is playing Sword and Shield, my immediate thought is like, God damn it, this guy's going to triple cart. Like, this guy's going to get absolutely cooked. Or this guy, I don't know, man. It's just like, this is like a noob weapon. I want to say, like, this is the weapon where you play when you really just don't know how to play anything else. Because admittedly, it is the most simple weapon. Maybe that's the reason why people play it. It has, like, the least unique shit. It's so just by the book. You do stuff. But yeah, anyways, that's enough with me ranting about Sword and Shield. I will now get on to C tier. To kick things off, I think I'm going to go with Gunlance. Now, Gunlance is, bro, it's kind of in like the trio of weird weapons with like Hunting Horn and Insect Glaive. I think Hunting Horn, Insect Glaive, and Gunlance are the weapons where it's like all right, that's kind of like funny that they exist. Like no human being has ever like used these weapons in real life, but it's cool that it exists in a video game. With that being said, I think Gunlance is boring as shit. I'll be honest. I think that you kind of just hold block. Actually, maybe I should start out with spoiler alert, Lance. I mean, I'll throw Gunlance here, but I'll go back to Gunlance. With Lance is just a baby weapon. It's I don't know. It's not bad, and it's kind of fun, honestly. Like you get to do the charge. The charge is fun, and I mean, the problem is that it has such a low skill ceiling, right? Or like low skill floor, low skill ceiling. Like it's just a baby weapon, bro. Like you just hold block and you can beat like half the monsters in the game. Like if you get guard up, you can block like the strongest attacks in the game. You don't take any damage. Like I think I've died with Lance like once, and it was when I was actually just like not healing, and yeah, I was just like trolling. And even then, like, how do you die 3 times with Lance? Like, bro, Lance is just like, I don't know. It's like the baby weapon where you just hold block, spam attack, and win. GG win game. It doesn't do very much damage though, honestly. Its damage output, when you compare it to some of the higher damage weapons, that I will touch on later, it's like not that crazy. Anyways, now on to Gunlance. I'll just in case if I wanna put in the video where I throw it there. Gunlance is kind of the same thing as Lance, except I kind of respect it less just because, first of all, I think it has a higher damage output. I have heard that Gunlance actually hits really hard in this game. But I feel like Gunlance players are just like kind of weird. Like you don't see them. I don't know. It just oozes like degenerate gamer, you know, like owns a body pillow. Like just off vibes alone, like when I see someone join my party and their weapon is Gunlance, I'm like, bro, this guy has not been out of his room. Or it's just like a new player that's like, oh, it's Gunlance, like that's a cool name, and then usually they don't get very far. Usually they'll play the weapon, realize it's kind of boring as shit, where you just hold a block just like Lance, except oh yeah, now you can also shoot them, and I don't know. The Wyvern Blast is cool, but you get to use it like once a minute. So it's like whatever, man. And like if you're picking this weapon because you think it's good, like dude, half the weapons in this game are broken as shit. Like pick any other weapon and it'll probably like just blindfolded throw a dart at a board with all the weapons on it and you will probably get a broken ass weapon, I'll be honest. Anyways, is that all I want for C tier? I might throw in. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Because I go to there. Boom. Boom. Yeah, I think I'll move on to B tier now. To kick off B tier, I'm going to put Longsword. Now, I'm a Longsword main. I'm not going to be a pretentious guy that puts their main weapon in S tier because I think it's really cool. I'll be honest. I've been a Longsword main since GU. I was a Longsword main in Rise. Rise Longsword went crazy, but now in Wilds, Longsword goes equally crazy. Longsword is kind of ridiculous. The damage output is absolutely wild. And because of how they reworked the Red Spirit mode, you can very well run elemental builds on Longsword. Like Longsword does a ridiculous amount of elemental damage if you get a good Arshan variant. You can get up to 730 elemental on it, which is just absolutely nuts. Like at that point, you're dealing like hundreds of damage per hit, or like probably like between 80 and 120. But you attack so fast that, you know, not nearly as fast as Dual Blades, not even as fast as Sword and Shield. Actually, maybe as fast as Sword and Shield. But yeah, in this game, it's actually very good to run Elemental Longsword. I still would say Crit Boost is better than like Crit Element, but yeah, Longsword is just you're probably picking Longsword because it's good. It's a staple, or you're picking it because you're a weeb, or if you're like me, you're picking it because you're both. Like, respectfully, I like my big anime sword slash where I like wave my blade around and then sheath it. It makes me feel cool as shit. And I like the delayed hits where you hit the monster and then yeah, you wait until you sheathe the weapon and then it gets hit and then it like knocks him down, whatever. Also, longsword gets crazy wound value where because of how long it is, you can stab wounds from like across a monster. Like there's some monsters where you can stab them, you can like exploit wounds that are on the tail even when you're attacking them from the front. Like longsword is just it's just a staple weapon. Like bro, this weapon is if this was a strength weapon, I don't think there's a single game where I'm putting longsword below A tier. Cuz like, you know, in like Generations Ultimate, some games will have like one definitive like broken ass weapon. Like yeah, Gyu had heavy bowgun, but I mean, no matter what you do, longsword with its just like raw multiplier and you know, just hit the monster a lot. It just has to be good. It's always a very solid A tier weapon strength wise. But yeah, you're not playing longsword doesn't necessarily just like make you cool. I wouldn't say like it's not like a baller weapon. Like longsword players don't like ball out. Like you feel yourself when you're like hunting the monsters, but like I would not be surprised if a random joined my team and like triple carded when they're a longsword player. Like I feel like longsword is kind of the generic like the longsword players get spawned in factories, right? I'm different, of course, because I'm the main character and whatnot, but like longsword is a very generic ass weapon. It's just the coolest of the generic ass weapons. Like it's way cooler than like lance and shit and sword and shield, bro. Fuck sword and shield. Um, Next for B tier, I'm going to put Charge Blade. I honestly know very little about Charge Blade. It seems like a really cool weapon. I want to play it, but it's kind of really complicated. I feel like a lot of Charge Blade players think they're like some like I feel like there's a lot of like Charge Blade elitists that think they're just better because they know how to play a complicated weapon. It's like, bro, you can calm down a little bit. It's not rocket science. It's pressing buttons in a game. You have sword and shield, and then you switch into a great sword with explosions. Like just because you got a lot of buttons and files and whatnot, and you have to manage that shit. Just because you're working a 9 to 5 doesn't make your weapon better. Okay. With that being said, it is a cool weapon, and like when someone joins the party and plays Charge Blade, I'm like, all right, this person probably knows their shit, or they're gonna triple cart because they're picking it because they're just like a shit player. But like I don't think the shit players are indicative of the Charge Blade itself. I think that you know, some new players might just see the Charge Blade and be like, okay, I want to main that weapon. And you know, most of the players that play this weapon are going to be really good, but there's probably got a couple people that don't know how to play it but choose to play it anyways and are shit. I'm not going to judge the weapon based off of those players though. Here, let me organize that so not to piss people off. I know there were so many people that were just going to be fuming in the comments about how I misaligned the fucking icons for weapons. Anyways, next in B tier is Switch Axe. Yeah, Switch Axe and Charge Blade feel very similar, except Switch Axe is like way more simple. Like that's the best way I can really describe it, right? Like Switch Axe is Charge Blade, but you're not pretentious. It's less pretentious, but also less good, or not good, like less skillful, but also less pretentious. So you're not a douchebag if you're playing Switch Axe. I feel like Charge Blade players are good at the game, but they're douches. And then Switch Axe players are, you know, all right at the game, and they're like it's just like the average. Like if I were to pick like just a random Monster Hunter player to like represent the community, and like I feel like it might be Switch Axe, where like not that many people even play the weapon. I just think that Switch Axe players are just, you know, they pick a weapon that looks cool and they want to hunt cool monsters with the cool weapon. and I respect that, you know? It's simple. It's pretty like you're pretty simple minded for or like one track minded. Like you just want to fight bosses with your big ass axe weapon, and you probably like stun locking monsters too with the one like whoosh 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 just chain attack, and that's respectable. Also, you can run maximum might, which is really nice, like longsword and I don't know what other weapons you really run maximum might on. Hunting horn, you probably run it on sword and shield and shit, but I don't know. And now we are on A tier. At the bottom of A tier, I'm going to put dual blades. Yeah, I think that there are a lot of dual blades players that are actually I'm gonna start out by saying something positive. I can't put something A tier and start out with a negative. Dual blades is a really good weapon in this game, and it's like just really cool. I mean, it's the only weapon in the game where you're like really trying to dial in elemental. It has a really good damage output with the like demon mode. You're just getting a lot of attacks in. Really good maximum damage output, but you also have to know how to play close to monsters. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get hits in. You have to know the game a decent amount, and yeah, you get punished if you're bad at stamina management, but the reward is really there. Yeah, I respect most dual blade players, but there are a lot of new players that don't understand the game yet that play dual blades. So don't be fooled. Like if someone joins your party and they're playing dual blades, don't immediately be like, all right, this person's the GOAT. They might just be new and they might triple cart. But I mean, that's part of the learning process, right? I'm not here to shame people that are new. Uh, yeah, like no shame if you are the triple carting random, but stay out of my lobby first. And yeah, honestly, try one of the cool weapons, bro. Because when you get good at it, feel way more rewarding. Like, yeah, anyone can play lance or any of the ranged weapons, and not cart because they just sit in the back or hold shield or some shit. But you know, you gotta have some cojones to choose a weapon where you're up close and personal. You really gotta get up in the monster's business, whatnot. So that's why I'm putting dual blades in A tier. But yeah, no, be wary of bad dual blades players. They will triple cart because of the stamina management thing. Next, I'm going to go Greatsword. Greatsword is kind of like dual blades, but the opposite. Yeah, you really it has the same thing where there's a big divide between good greatsword players and bad greatsword players. Greatsword has like one of the highest damage outputs in the game, or potential damage outputs. I mean, you're hitting for like 1,000 damage a hit. Greatsword does a ludicrous amount of damage. It's just ridiculous. Like it puts every other weapon to shame, except for like Charge Blade if you have max files. But like, bro, that shit doesn't count. I don't care. I actually just don't know enough about Charge Blade to care, but that's besides the point. Yeah, Greatsword is like if you are a Greatsword main, that's very respectable. You gotta learn to be good. Get those charge attacks in. Get those true charges. You can true charge out of wounds, which is kind of broken. I guess wounds in this game are just broken though. So, yeah, I feel like, dude, Greatsword players are just kind of like ball out. Like if you actually get good at Greatsword, you can consistently beat like Tempered Arcvelds without carding. Like you're just putting in a lot of work, bro. Like you're getting like half the monster's health down. Admittedly, I feel like when I play with Greatsword players, they be stealing all the wounds though. Like when I'm on Longsword and I'm playing with Greatsword, I like never get to hit wounds. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'm doing something wrong, but I feel like monsters always target Greatsword players, and that makes it easier for them to like hit them, whatnot. But I don't know. It's kind of awkward. Honestly, I might move it. No, actually, I'm gonna pivot. I was originally planning on this next weapon, Insect Glaive, to be S, but I decided finally that it will be A. Insect Glaive is like the counterpart of Gunlance, I would say, where instead of being lame, it's really cool. Like, Insect Glaive is not a very good weapon. Where like I would say like Gun Lance is a good weapon, but you're not cool if you play it. Insect Glaive is a bad weapon, but you're cool if you play it, you know? Like you're just fucking jumping, doing tricks on it and shit. You're also kind of a team player because you're getting mounts, you know? And it's a pretty complicated weapon. Like it's the only weapon that I would say like rivals Charge Blade in terms of how complicated it is. Uh Aside from like maybe the bow guns and shit just feel really complicated when you first start, but once you get down to it, you're just rapid firing the monster. Like it doesn't count. Anyways, back to Insect Glaive. Yeah, you're getting some support because you're getting mounts. You're knocking down the monster so your teammates can get some damage in. It also has Insect Glaive has a very high like maximum damage output, but the like charge B attack leaves you wide open. So a lot of times if you use it at the wrong time, you'll get heavily punished for it. So most insect players have to be pretty damn good. Like Insect Glaive is not for the new player or the inexperience. Like you have to be. I have tried to play Insect Glaive. I still really struggle. It's a difficult ass weapon. I've killed like one Tempered Arkfeld with it, and then I got it done on my first try. But then my second try, I lost the quest, which was rough. But yeah, Insect Glaive, cool ass weapon. Yeah, and you can get paras with the bug, though. Admittedly, dude, the bug system's so weird in this game. I like when you could just upgrade the bug independently of the weapon, and then, you know, you could get like buffs from that shit. Now it's the bug system seems really weird in this game. That's kind of besides the point though, because it doesn't affect your gameplay that much. Honestly, I don't even know why they made it so you have to have like a different Kinsect. I guess it's kind of cool. But like respectfully, even if you're running a blunt Kinsect, like you're not getting a knockout unless you're fighting like a Yian Kutku or like a Chatacabra. Like the only monsters you're knocking out are like weak ass monsters. And then yeah, I'm just also it's so hard to get the to be in like the powered up state with Insect Glaive without the wounds. The wounds in this game really save Insect Glaive. We're like, I don't know, some monsters you'll have to hit them like in the feet to get the level 3 boost, but then their feet will like always be covered by their wings, so you can't get the insect in there. So it's really hard to get to the powered up state, but if you hit a wound, that just instantly gives you all 3. So as long as you're doing damage, you can easily stay in the powered up state for the entire quest. Like it's not that difficult, but you definitely have to do that to be contributing. Insect Glaive without the powered up state is so ass. If you want me to do I'll give you a little 10-second Insect Glaive guide. What you want to do is you want to start quests by just spamming aerial attacks using the right trigger and the A button, or if you're on PlayStation X. I'm on PlayStation. So yeah, the button on the bottom of the 4 buttons and right trigger. And then you what is it? Yeah, then you just go for aerial attacks till you get a mount. Destroy one of the parts on its back, then destroy its head, then do the mount attack, and then, you know, use your wound attack to exploit the wound that you made on its back to get into the powered up state, and then just Insect Glaive in powered up state. Like, just play aerial, use your... Insect Glaive gets like a broken ass aerial attack when you're in powered up, and then you can also charge your B move. So yeah, I would use aerial Y while you're charging B, and then after the Y attack is done, it'll send you back up into the air. Then you do B, you fall down on it, spin a lot. Also, hi Shane, what's up? I'm just making a video right now. I'm just streaming it so I can download the VOD later. Anyways, yeah, you spin back down, do your cool anime combo. Though admittedly, I don't know how to do the extended version. Like, even though I've played Insect Glaive a little bit, I don't know what the input is for the like big spin that like takes away your powered up state. I don't think it's that good to use though, if I'm honest. Like, I'm pretty sure it inflicts a good amount of status based on what your Kinsect is, but taking you out of the powered up state is like debilitating. It's not like Longsword, or Longsword you can use the big anime slash, it'll send you back to white, but like if you just hit one wound, then that'll pretty much get you back to red, because it'll get you to yellow, and then you can combo it into a right trigger, spirit round slash, and get back to red almost instantly. Plus, it also does like 1,500 damage. With Insect Glaive, the extended version does a lot less than 1500, and yeah, it just cripples your weapon. So I don't think it's even that worth using. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Honestly, it's like my third or fourth most played weapon in this game. Uh, or yeah, fourth. Maybe even close to fifth by now. No, fourth. Anyways, kicking off S tier, the best of the best, the cream of the crop, Hammer. If you play Hammer, you are cool. I feel like Hammer players rarely cart. It's a simple enough weapon to the point where like you know what you're doing, but the skill cap is also like really high. Like you can distinguish a good Hammer player from a bad Hammer player. With that being said, good and bad Hammer players will be contributing a good amount to the team. You're kind of being the team player, you know, you're getting knockouts if you're assuming you're hitting the head enough. Uh yeah, you're putting in work, doing shit for the boys. Also, underrated aspect of Hammer's kit, you don't really need to hit wounds with like the right bumper attack. So you can let your teammates get the wound exploit attacks. Like if you have a longsword teammate, your longsword teammate can stay in the level 3 spirit or red spirit charge the entire fight because he can take all the wound attacks. Or if you have a greatsword player, the greatsword player can take all the wound attacks, get a shit ton of damage. While you're just hitting him in the head, getting knockouts. Hammer does a shit ton of damage in this game. Hammer's like my second main. Like I might play Hammer more than Longsword coming up. Like Hammer is so fun. There's a couple bad matchups. Like it's pretty difficult to fight Arkveld because a lot of times when you're trying to hit it in the head, its wings will just block it because its wings are massive. But yeah, Hammer has really big skill ceiling. You have to kind of know what you're doing, but you know, you can also just brute force it, hold forward, spam them charge attacks. Hammer players are just I honestly Hammer is the counterpart of Sword and Shield. Where like Sword and Shield is like a you know, I think Hammer and Sword and Shield are some of the most simple weapons where you know all of your moves always, but you know, Sword and Shield is like you have low damage output and you don't really do anything for your team. And then Hammer is you do a lot for your team and have a high damage output. And then if you want a quick rundown of how to play Hammer, I could also drop a full video on it. Let me know if you'd want that. But you want to just spam the charge attacks for the head when on the head when the monster's moving around. Then if you ever get a knockdown or knockout, spam the B button for the big bang attack. That shit does so much damage and does a shit pile of knockout. Like Hammer just hits so hard in this game. And yeah, if a monster goes to sleep, I've hit sleeping monsters for like 1200 damage before in one hit. Because you can do like level 2 charge. It also is just, it has the funny ass like hammer swing where you spinning that shit in a circle. Yeah, Hammer is just such a goated weapon. It has like all of the ups of Greatsword, except I feel like Greatsword does kind of detract from your teammates a little bit because the monster kind of has to be targeted to you. And yeah, there's just a lot of like targeting conflict. Whereas Hammer, you are very mobile while charging, so you can really adjust to any team. You're just always very helpful. Like Hammer's just like that. And then finally, the GOAT. You are cool if you play this pretty much no matter what, even if you're shit at it, unless you're corner horning. But Hunting Horn. Don't corner horn. Quick little PSA. Hunting Horn is like so ridiculous, or it has such ridiculous potential. It has the highest potential of any of these weapons on the list. There just isn't a perfect Hunting Horn in the game yet. Because in this game they added Echo Bubbles, which provide even more support, but only one Hunting Horn in the entire game has an attack and affinity Echo Bubble, which is what you really want, but the problem is that it's on a shit Hunting Horn. So if they ever release a Hunting Horn where, you know, you have good songs and attack affinity Echo Bubble, like Hunting Horn will be the best weapon when you're playing with 4 people. But I mean, that's kind of besides the point. The main reason why you're cool if you're playing Hunting Horn is just because of all the support you're giving. Like Hunting Horn is the support weapon, right? You're getting knockouts you're playing songs, buffing your teammates' attack, but I mean, anyone can do that, right? Like it has a pretty low skill floor. Like it's pretty easy to play at an all right level, but like a real good like hunting horn main can like actually do a shit ton of damage. Like they can solo quests. It's a very usable weapon solo. Like it's not bad in any right. It's a little bit hard to get the dial in the echo bubbles, but like bro, when you can like knock down a monster and they're in all 3 echo bubbles, your damage output is just absolutely ridiculous. It also has really unique builds where every weapon you're kind of just going for a perfect Arshan. They made Arshan hunting horns just dog shit. Kind of like a balancing thing. If they made it so you could choose your songs and choose your echo bubble, then hunting horn, yeah, it would be the best weapon in the game. I did the math. You could give everyone on your team a 50% damage increase, assuming they have max level crit boost. Like I am probably going to make a separate video just going over the potential of hunting horn. Not to mention, like, dude, even hunting horn now, sonic barrier is a broken ass skill. It just makes so the first time you get hit from when it's deployed, it does like 1/4 the damage or like 1/5 the damage. And it also negates roars the first time you get hit with one. And so if you're just spamming sonic barrier, you know, you get your attack up L, your defense up L, your self-improvement going, and then you just spam sonic barrier. Whenever your teammates get hit, they'll take massively reduced damage. Like they'll genuinely just be taking 1/4 the damage that they would. Like your teammates have to be pretty brain dead to die if you're playing hunting horn. Like hunting horn's the only weapon in the game where like you can make triple cart teammates not take a single cart. Like hunting horn is like that. And yeah, it's just really hard to hit like a high damage output with it. But if you can get that far with hunting horn, you have my unbridled respect. Hunting horn's my either second or third most played weapon in the game. Yeah, it's a toss up between I play mostly longsword, hammer, hunting horn. I know I said earlier like I'm not gonna put my main in S tier, and then my 2 other main weapons are in S tier, but genuinely like I feel that these weapons just provide the most value, and if I have people joining me, I want them on hammer or hunting horn, because yeah, the buffs on hunting horn are just, it's actually so nice. 20% attack is crazy. It's almost to the point where if you're in a 4-person squad, like, dude, in theory, even if you aren't doing like any damage, you're still contributing a very solid amount. Obviously, do not corner horn. Corner horn players are the fucking worst. Yeah, you're just weird if you're playing hunting horn to sit in the corner and spam songs. Like actually playing the fight, it's not hard at all to keep 100% uptime on all your songs. Yeah, get slugger. It's also, yeah, it has really unique builds, man. I talked earlier about how it doesn't use Arshan weapons, which lets you use a lot of different hunting horns. You know, you can run Ajarkhan, you can run the bone hunting horns, honestly really good. Either of the Arkfeld hunting horns are very solid, and Guardian Rathalos, super good. But the biggest part is that you also don't need to go into a crit build. Where like with every single other weapon in the game, you really want to be dialing in crit. You know, you want to get your crit boost maxed out ideally. You want to get, or if you have an elemental build, you want to get element crit. And you want to get 100 affinity, because it's pretty easy to do that in this game. If you just get weakness exploit, and then for a lot of weapons, you can just run maximum might to get the last like 30%. Plus, if you're counting the Gore Magla cloak, like you just easily get max 100 affinity with like most weapons in this game. And you can also run agitator if you're feeling real I don't know, eccentric. You can run latent power, but latent power is just I don't know, it's inconsistent and not as helpful as some of the other skills. But yeah, with hunting horn, you can really just go into a raw build because a lot of its attacks can't crit, like all the echo bubble stuff. And I believe the sonic slam also can't, or I forget what it's called, resounding melody. Resounding melody I don't think can crit aside from like the first couple hits. So you can really like I think it still is worth getting weakness exploit. But aside from that, like you don't need to go crit boost. You can go for raw damage. You could even go for bludgeoner for some hunting horns. Like that's honestly respectable. And with that being said, also crit builds are still very good. Like it's not like you have to go for raw. Like crit builds are still a very prominent option. It's just that's not the only thing you can do with hunting horn. You can run so many very different hunting horn builds. I'm also going to have a video coming up that's going to be defense maxing. I'm going to tank the strongest attack in Monster Hunter Wilds, mostly using a defensive ass hunting horn and like a lot of armor. But yeah, stay tuned for that. That one's going to be cool. That one's just like an optimization video. But yeah, this is my tier list. I'm thinking if I want to move anything around. I'm liking how everything's looking though. Yeah, I don't think I used to think really highly of Insect Glaive because like I don't know, it's complicated, it's hard to play, but like dude, it's just like a cool ass weapon, bro. And it's funny. Like what else do you want from a weapon? But at the same time, dude, it's not like it feels really weak in this game. Like it has a pretty good maximum damage output, but it still is like less than Longsword, and it's so much harder to hit than Longsword. I guess you do get the support value of, what is it? Getting mounts and stuff. So honestly, yeah, it's a very fair weapon to play. And in a 4-stack Insect Glaive, it would be nice to have an Insect Glaive player. Honestly, if you're running like the Dream lineup, the Dream blunt rotation in Wilds is probably like Hammer, Hunting Horn, getting lots of knockouts, right? You have 2 knockout people. Then I don't know, man. Insect Glaive would be nice for mounts, and then you could run like Greatsword or Longsword. Or Dual Blades. Like any of those weapons, Greatsword, Longsword, Dual Blades have just really high damage outputs. Same with Charge Blade and kind of Swax. Swax is kind of a bizarre weapon. It's despite being one of the weirdest weapons, it's very like normal. Like that sentence made no sense. Despite being one of the weirdest weapons, it's very like consistent, you know? Or simple. Like you're just kind of like swinging at monsters. You know, you have like a little bit of gimmicks by like switching between an axe and a big ass sword, whatever, but for the most part, whether you're an axe or sword, you're just kind of swinging at them. You don't have to do like specific combos and shit. You can, and it does a good amount of damage, but like you're doing a similar amount of damage just like mashing, which is fair. But yeah, anything else I would change? Yeah, Lance and Gunlance are just fucking baby weapons. Infants can play that shit. Yeah. Sword and Shield players are just really new, but they don't have good taste. Actually, though, maybe I have some friends that are like struggling to get into Monster Hunter. Maybe I should try and put them on Sword and Shield because I feel like that is the way to, like, if you're having a really hard time grasping the weapons, like Sword and Shield's a simple ass. Just hit them, Lamau. But yeah, no, I think the bow guns are pretty bitch made. And that's really all I have to say. I guess 45 minutes of footage really ain't too bad. I'll edit this and try and have it out in time, you know. There's the list. Clip it and ship it, whatnot. Then, yeah, I'll just do a quick little outro. Anyways, that's all for the video, guys. Yeah, I'm really trying to get monetized, which the thresholds are 500 subs for like light monetization, and then 1,000 subs for like the full deal. So yeah, hit that sub button. It would help me so much. I cannot understate how much I would appreciate that. And then yeah, like the video. It'll help it do better with the algorithm. Let me know if you want to see more Monster Hunter Wilds content. I know before this I've been doing a lot of just like random shit, you know, Valorant video here, Skylanders video there, Rivals video here, Rivals video there, whatnot. But I want to do more Monster Hunter content because I really love this game series. Yeah, Generations Ultimate's one of my favorite games of all time. Probably peak Monster Hunter, though. Wilds has potential to beat it. Uh, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, comment if you want me to make a full-length video on how to play any of these weapons. I am most inclined to do either hammer, hunting horn, or longsword. Probably, probably. Actually, I also might do insect glaive. I don't think I'm qualified enough to do insect glaive though. I don't think I'm good enough at it. But yeah, I could definitely do a longsword guide if anyone's wondering how to play it better. Like I'm right now, I'm HR like 150. Yeah, I've. If you want to know my credentials, I've killed tempered arc velds in like 10 minutes. I've fragged out a couple times. Though those are like crazy runs. I can't like consistently do that. I'm not like that yet. But I've been nonstop grinding this game. It's kind of an addiction, but hopefully I'll get better. But yeah, that's about it for the video. Yeah, see ya.